Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. I have all the African energy. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Thank you very much. My name is Charlotte Oloya, and I work with the Varkey Foundation. I oversee the projects in Africa. And today, I wanted to talk to you about 20 amazing Global Teacher Prize finalists who last year started conducting randomized control trials. I don't know if we can see that picture of the 20 amazing Global Teacher Prize finalists. And over the course of this year and last year, they set out to investigate the impact of their innovative teaching practices within their schools. So this is a representation of people from across Africa, Europe, LATAM, and Lebanon. Thank you, Hiba. From Lebanon, and what they were doing is investigating the impact of their innovating teaching practices. This project was teacher-led. It was led by the teachers in their schools and in their communities, and it was initiated by the Varkey Foundation in partnership with the Education Development Trust. So I don't want to take too much of their time, as each of them are going to have 1 minute to talk about literally 1 minute to talk about the research that they did over the course of the year. They will each come. We'll start with Akash, and they will line up with their posters and almost have an elevator pitch to tell you what their trial was about. A lady at the back, right there, will tell you you have 30 seconds and then a minute left. This session is 1 hour and 15 minutes. We've given them quite a bit of time to talk about their research. And after that, you will have the opportunity to come and talk to them, and they explain the findings of their research. They will explain the findings of their research. So we shall start with Akash to come and tell us, Can we have Katrina as well? Katrina, could you please come to the front? Katherine. Eligio. Miriam. Hiba. Souad. Maje. Marcela and Kavita. Could we come to the front, please? All right, so Akash is going to have 1 minute to talk about what the research that he did in his school in the United States of America. The lady at the back right there will tell you 30 seconds, and then time's up. All right, over to you, Akash.
So how many of you have taken a foreign language course in high school for 5 years, and when you got out of the course, you couldn't speak a word of the language? That's the story of millions of Americans that take 5 years of Spanish and can speak a word of it at the end of their classes. So my study investigated right now the national movement of all 50 states to move from a traditional centered foreign language class to a proficiency centered classroom where students no longer are learning grammar, but they are engaging with authentic text like a menu from a restaurant, or they're engaging with a poster from a metro station. So I did a within participant counterbalance study with 2 classes where both the classes received the control and the intervention condition, where they were taught in a traditional and a proficiency-centered lesson. And at the end of the study, I found that there were statistically significant findings that students in the proficiency-centered classroom scored way higher than the students in the traditional classroom. I also administered a survey that showed that students enjoyed and were more engaged in the proficiency-centered classroom, were more motivated, and had higher scores. Now, the study needs to be replicated in other schools, in other classrooms.
Thank you very much, Akash. He was rapping through that. We'll have Katrina. Katherine. Katherine will need translation.
Yes, Elisa.
So we'll give Katherine 2 minutes. Could we listen to Katherine? Hello. Hi.
Elisa.
Could we listen to Katherine? She will need translation. So Katherine is going to have 2 minutes because somebody is going to be translating what she's saying.
Hola a todos, mi investigación se fundamentó en la efectividad de los libros digitales en estudiantes de básica primaria de cuarto y quinto grado para mejorar la comprensión lectora.
Hi everyone, my research was based on reading comprehension using digital books for 4th and 5th grade elementary school students.
En esta investigación participaron 139 estudiantes que fueron agrupados en 4 clases correspondientes al grado cuarto y quinto.
We had 159 students that were grouped in 4 different groups and they were from 4th and 5th grade.
Se trabajaron 2 condiciones. La primera fue de control, donde los estudiantes no utilizaron tecnología para la comprensión lectora.
We had 2 research groups. One was the control group in which it was a traditional class with no technology.
Y para el grupo de intervención, los estudiantes tuvieron varias actividades mediadas tecnológicamente.
And for the intervention group, we had assisted with technology. The classes were assisted with technology.
Dentro de los hallazgos se pudo encontrar que los estudiantes que tuvieron la intervención mejoraron su proceso de comprensión lectora.
Here you can see our findings. The students that received technology-assisted classes with ebooks improved their reading comprehension.
Uno de los resultados que quisiera destacar fue que los estudiantes con necesidades educativas como dislexia y déficit de atención mejoraron sus procesos gracias a la interacción con estos libros digitales.
Something that I would like to highlight is that the students with special needs, we're talking about dyslexia or attention deficit disorder, improved their reading comprehension if they were in the intervention group.
También los estudiantes mostraron mayor motivación al poder interactuar con estos textos, ya que la multimedia les permite a ellos acceder a las comprensiones de nuevos conocimientos.
Also, the students that were in the intervention group showed more motivation to learn because using multimedia was something very engaging for them.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Katherine. Thank you. Can we move to Eligio? Eligio.
Good morning. Este estudio permite ver cómo un grupo de intervención obtuvo resultados muy impactantes, muy significativos respecto a un grupo de control que trabajó sobre aprendizajes de medición de longitudes en la sala de clase con metodología tradicional, incluyendo software educativos, versus el grupo de intervención que trabajó en invernadero escolar y en terreno.
So, this is a research, a preliminary study on activities associated with the farming practices context in a school greenhouse and its positive impact length measurement learning compared to traditional classes in rural primary school students from 4th to 6th grade. And we're going to talk about the difference between the 2 groups, the control group and the intervention group.
Ambos grupos tuvieron 4 semanas desarrollando las mismas actividades con las estrategias en los contextos que yo les planteaba. El grupo de intervención tuvo la oportunidad de aplicar esos aprendizajes que iban desarrollando en situaciones reales como medir perímetro del recinto escolar y otros.
Both groups had 4 weeks of classes, one of them in the traditional, and the intervention group, they had activities, live-on activities, like, for example, measuring the perimeter of the farming places that I was putting into context.
Limitaciones de este estudio es que la muestra fue pequeña, con pocos estudiantes que yo tengo, y que hay una diferencia, es un curso multinivel, por lo tanto pudo haber algunas variables asociadas a eso que tal vez influyeron.
The limitations for this study was one, that the small number of students, and also the students were from different grade levels, because that's my group, that's the way.
Pero sí hay también resultados de que los estudiantes en el grupo control tuvieron más desmotivación o más posibilidades de distracción con los software educativos sobre todo, y los que trabajaron afuera en la intervención sí tenían mayor conciencia de que lo que estaban estudiando fue mucho más productivo, mucho más significativo.
But something that we could see was the motivation of both groups. The ones that were in the control group were not as motivated as the kids that were working in the intervention group outside, because they could see the difference that it was making into their learning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eligio. Please note down the questions that you could possibly have about their research. They will each have opportunity to talk to you about the research that they did in their schools. I'd also like to ask the presenters to look at the timer right here. They should look at the timer right here. It will tell you when it's 30 seconds and when time is up. Next, we have Miriam Mason from Sierra Leone. Miriam actually did 2 RCT projects in her school. She'll have 2 minutes as well, 1 minute for each of them. Ooh. Miriam, over to you, right here.
Thank you, and good morning. So working in Sierra Leone, one of my big concerns was to actually engage my colleagues who used to working in a very conservative environment where the exams demand not too much higher level thinking, not too much engagement with anything beyond a very fact-based assessment and therefore syllabus. And so the first study was about actually, the way we work is our students work together on pre-prepared materials, working at their own pace, and then when they've done all the learning activities, they do a test. At the end of, if they get stuck, they call a teacher. In between times, they help each other out. Those pre-prepared materials either are just about the syllabus, or I was pushing that we should do the higher level thinking. And so I did the test between those 2 groups and on the same topic. And what I hoped is what it seems to indicate is that not only do they gain the opportunity to engage with other values and the higher level thinking, but also that they had the opportunity, they did actually learn better at the end of the period, and 1 month later there was better retention. Oh my God. And the second one was about reading. And so it was about reading to a doll, reading to a partner, or reading on one's own. And it was with primary school children. And what was fun there was, it was sort of surprising that the doll didn't have any engagement. So then it sort of makes one wonder, at what level of consciousness does the thing being read to become significant? So a partner, maybe the same age, maybe younger, older, or an animal, but an inanimate object didn't seem to have the same effect. So it was exciting in terms of where it could lead to, and certainly in engaging my colleagues in thinking about different ways of teaching, which wasn't necessarily a concept.
Thank you very much, Miriam. If you notice, I've perfected. Thank you very much, Miriam. If you notice, I've perfected the art of walking closer as the time. I am not being a god. I'm just letting you know time is up. Time is up. So over to Hiba. Hiba.
I guess I'm going to take less than 1 minute. Oh, good morning, everyone. It's really exciting being here and presenting my research to you. Well, do you believe that social and emotional learning develops the performance of students in class? This is our aim in the research. What we did was an approach from the Yale Center, you can find it online, through the ruler method, where we applied some brain gym exercises in grades 7 and 8 in order to notice if the performance of students is going to improve in life science session. And what we did was having the students as control and intervention in both grades, 7 and 8, and finally, after a post-test, the results are going to be there. If you are interested to know more about the results, please feel free to come and ask, and I'm here to answer any question that you want. Thank you.
Whoa. I even have 17 seconds to saunter across the room. You're welcome, Sawad. The next presentation is from Sawad, and she's talking about using mystery science and how it can improve elementary students' progress in science.
Okay. we all want our students to be engaged, motivated, especially when it comes to science. So we find that this mysteryscience.com, I have been using it for a few years. Why is it becoming very, very popular in the United States? Millions of kids are using it. They're changing, shifting. The teachers are shifting that to their, they're using it as their entire curriculum. So I did the research on it, and I used my class, 2 classes. Of course, the result was a huge impact, positive impact. The Science Mystery is an online site that is interactive, and it really keeps the student asking questions. And also, I did a survey with the 56 teachers that are using mystery science, and 79% of them use it as their curriculum. So I think mysteryscience.com will be very pleased with me, because now I'm, kind of, yeah. But this is a wonderful, wonderful site. I have used sites a lot in the past, and this is the one I would recommend.
We're going to South Africa now to visit Maje. You're welcome, Maje.
Thank you.
And you have 1 minute starting now.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. South Africa had legislated racism, but most countries in the world that were colonized with attitudes of a racial hierarchy. And that was called social Darwinism. When Charles Darwin said that it's the survival of the fittest, countries were colonized by Europe with that attitude, that there is a hierarchy of races. So even though my country has racial equality, a lot of those attitudes still prevail. And I teach social Darwinism, eugenics, and I also teach pseudo-scientific racism, that race is not a genetic feature, and also the fact that people originated from South Africa, the cradle of humankind. But I did a research with non-history girls and history girls around whether they think that race is a core part of their identity or not. And I did that before my lessons and then after. And after my lessons, there was an overwhelming reflection in the history girls that race was not the core part of their identity. And I think this is quite interesting in terms of self-esteem, because as long as those attitudes of social Darwinism prevail, people will not have that strong self-esteem. And there's been a noticeable shift with lessons regarding race, genetics, and social Darwinism. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maje. You need a translator? And we're welcoming Marcela. She's going to have 2 minutes because she has translation.
Hello, my name is Marcela Enríquez. I'm from Chile. El objetivo de mi investigación fue comprobar cómo la colaboración entre docentes de distintas asignaturas podían mejorar los niveles de comprensión lectora en los estudiantes.
The objective of my research was to prove how collaboration among teachers from different subjects could improve reading comprehension in students.
Por lo pronto, lo que hice fue considerar 2 grupos, tomé 2 grupos, un grupo control, un grupo intervención. El grupo control solo recibió estímulos de comprensión lectora de mi parte, en cambio el grupo intervención recibió estímulos de comprensión lectora de 4 docentes diferentes.
I had 2 groups, the control group and the intervention group. The control group received reading intervention just from my own part as the language teacher, and the intervention group received intervention from 4 different teachers in reading comprehension.
Y los resultados fueron muy positivos porque ellos lograron en un periodo de 2 meses mejorar los niveles de comprensión lectora, y con esto pude comprobar que mientras más docentes nos unamos en este objetivo, mejores serán los resultados. La comprensión lectora está en crisis no solamente en Chile, en el mundo entero. Por lo tanto, hay que entender esta habilidad como una habilidad transversal del currículum escolar, fundamental para acceder a todas las áreas del conocimiento. Muchas gracias.
After 4 months, I could see that the difference in reading comprehension was very good among the students in the intervention group, which shows that when teachers collaborate, we can make reading comprehension a lot better. And reading comprehension is it's something very difficult all over the world, not just in Chile. It's a transversal ability that we should take very much into account. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we're getting better at this. And over to Kavita, who has 1 minute starting now.
Yes, so hello. Industries are changing rapidly, but is education keeping pace? So my entire research was that if students are mentored by industry experts, is there a better connection of STEM concepts to everyday life? And therefore, it was a between participant design where one group was regular teaching and the other second group was with an industry expert along with teaching, and a post-test was taken, and this showed a non-significant but positive results. And therefore, to make sure that in future we keep pace with industry, I would like you to connect with me and let's see how we can make it really, really valid for the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Kavita. She's given me 20 seconds to bring you a commercial break to say that all these posters are available on the GESF app if you want to read more about the work that they've done and the findings of their research. Over the past, last year, but we had a workshop with all these great researchers, which was culminated into a workshop this year to talk about their findings in partnership with Education Development Trust. I'd like to call up the next group of amazing researchers. Could we have Alexandra Rubio? Could we clap for them? Ken Sylvan, Francis Jim. Could we please clap for them? Let us give them some energy to come up. Luiz Miguel, Ayodele, and Andrew Zinchesi. Do you need translation? You're going to translate for her. Okay. All right, so first on the list, move that side. We'll move it that side. Just pull it to the front. Just pull it to the front. Just pull this to the front. So first we have Alexandra Rubio, who is going to talk to us about Colombia.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here with you. My name is Alexander Rubio from Colombia. My project is about mindfulness. Desarrollé el trabajo en la ciudad de Bogotá en un colegio que está ubicado en una zona de mucha violencia. Trabajé con una población de 164 participantes divididos en dos grupos, el grupo control de 82 y el grupo de intervención de 82.
I worked in Bogota. My project is about mindfulness, and I work in a school that has high levels of violence. I had 2 groups. Can you repeat the numbers of the groups?
164, 82 y 82.
164 in total, and we had 92 and 82 in the control and intervention groups.
Utilicé para ello con el grupo control y con el grupo control lo dejamos sin aplicar la técnica del grupo de intervención. Se le aplicaron técnicas de pedagogía del loto, respirar, pensar, actuar, utilizando hatha yoga, mindfulness, meditación y ejercicios de relajación.
So the control group received just the traditional instruction, but with the intervention group you used pedagogy of Loto, for which we used mindfulness, breathing, yoga,
respirar, pensar, actuar.
Which is to breathe, to think, and to act. Meditation.
Okay. Y encontramos que durante 20 minutos, 2 veces como mínimo en la semana, de 2 a 3 veces en la semana, los estudiantes bajaron los niveles de violencia, se les aplicó un pretest y un post-test y bajaron los niveles de violencia, mejoraron la convivencia y es un proyecto que se puede aplicar a nivel nacional e incluso a nivel internacional.
Our students in the intervention group received these sessions twice or 3 times a week for 20 minutes. And we had pre-test and post-test, and we could see that there was a reduction in stress. So this program could be applied not only in my context, but of course all over the world. And it reduced violence.
Okay, muchas gracias.
Thank you.
So you just carry your poster over to the other side. Thank you very much, Alexandra. Next we have Ken Sylvan.
Good morning. I'm actually going to end my presentation by saying thank you in sign language. So I'll be going like that. And you're clapping. You don't clap, just go like this, okay? My project was on a program called iSTEM, so STEM, science, technology, engineering and maths. And the I, because anything that's interesting for kids has to have an I in front of it. And, but what was really good is we've been running the program for 9 years, but you get these warm, fuzzy feelings and you think it's working. By doing the research, we're actually able to survey students on their attitudes. And when we talk about stats, the stat which I thought was really amazing is the effect size 0.4 is significant. Well, we actually got 1.9 when we were talking about students' attitudes to careers in science. So it was a great big positive thing. The good thing is, now that we've got this survey, we can also use that survey so we can actually survey teachers and students on their attitudes to science. So
Thank you very much, Ken. Francis?
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Francis Jim from the Philippines. Who here knows design thinking? Design thinking, popularized by D School or the design school at Stanford. People have been on board in using design thinking and have been using it for STEAM or STEM, however we call it in robotics. But did we really check if there's an effect on student achievement, student outcome? Most of the studies here really focus on the designers or the process of the design itself. So what I did was to put design thinking, work with my school, Xavier School in the Philippines, and check if there's really an effect towards student achievement or student outcome. I did a between participant design in grade 4 science. So we were trying to isolate things out and we really focus on science. That's where the design thinking is really, really applied as of the moment. Short result, there is a significant moderate result into this, but this is preliminary study. So if you're free, if you have time, we can continue chatting and talk about this further. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Francis. And now we go to Nigeria with Itodo.
My name is Itodo Samuel, and I teach chemistry, physics, and mathematics in a high school in Nigeria. One of the problems I discovered with the teaching of my subjects was students practically learned by rote, so it was more or less a knowledge-based kind of education. And I was interested in shifting students from knowledge-based to higher-level learning systems like problem-solving and critical thinking. So what I did was, my research was actually to explore the effect of after-school science-based projects on the critical thinking abilities of students. So I had a select set of students who participate in after-school projects for a couple of hours. So in the intervention group, I had 18 students who stayed back after school 2 hours in a week to participate in science-based projects. While in the control group, I case-matched students with similar abilities to the students in the intervention group. At the end of my research, which lasted for 2 months, I discovered there was really no significant difference in their critical thinking abilities between the students in the intervention group and the students in the control group. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Itodo. Thank you very much, Itodo. Luiz? Oh, Luiz Miguel. Luiz Miguel will have 2 minutes.
Good morning. My name is Luis Miguel Bermúdez. I'm from Colombia. Bueno, esta investigación se realizó en la ciudad de Bogotá, en un colegio público de 5,000 estudiantes.
This research was taking place in a school in Bogotá. This is a public school with 5,000 students.
Este colegio se caracterizaba porque tenía un promedio anual de 60 embarazos de niñas y adolescentes.
The problem in this school was that we had on average 60 pregnancies in our students every year.
Entonces, lo que propusimos fue generar un currículo en educación que pudiera disminuir esta problemática.
The proposal was to design a curriculum that could lessen this number.
Este currículo se basó en la promoción de los derechos humanos sexuales y reproductivos y principalmente en la prevención de las violencias de género.
And this curriculum was based on the gender violence prevention and also lo primero que dijiste, ¿en qué se basó? And the promotion of human rights and reproduction and sexuality.
Versus o en contraste con el currículo tradicional de educación sexual colombiano que se basa en la abstinencia sexual, la moral y la moral.
And this was in contrast to the national curriculum in Colombia, which is based on abstinence and morality.
Entonces se hicieron 164 estudiantes, 84 en el grupo de control que tenían el currículo tradicional versus 84 con el currículo que se propuso.
So we had two groups, 84 in each group, control group with the traditional curriculum and the other 84 in the intervention group with the new curriculum.
Los resultados fueron contundentes, se logró disminuir el embarazo adolescente en un 90%.
The results were outstanding. We were able to reduce pregnancies by 90%.
Sin embargo, la principal dificultad es que todavía muchos de los docentes todavía mantienen esas concepciones morales frente al tema de la sexualidad y esto puede llegar a contaminar cualquier currículo que se aplique.
Our greatest difficulty was the mindset of many of the teachers that are still very absorbed into morality. And of course, this can taint any curriculum for as good or new as it is.
Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Luiz, Miguel. And we have Ayodele, also from Nigeria.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, I'm glad to be with you, and I'm glad to share with you one of the contemporary issues in education ecosystem, particularly the one that relates to Africa. Yes, we have huge problem in terms of classroom arrangement in Nigeria. As a teacher of 13 years experience, we understand that most of our classrooms, as you have in most of the world media organizations, most of our classrooms are overcrowded and there is no element of collaborative learning spaces. So the research investigated on the impact of peer collaboration and their effect on critical thinking and achievement of our students. And this was done in a public or government funded high school. So the results showed, before results, that we have a group of 100 students in a class divided into control and intervention groups, and they ran through a test achievement within 6 weeks, and the results show that there was significant increase in academic achievement of those students who are grouped as compared with the conventional one. I mean, those who sit in rows. So that is just the basis of my research. When you come to my stand, you get more of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ayodele. Andrew Zinchesi from Malawi.
Yeah, thank you very much. I come from the warm heart of Africa. First, I have to define about my study. It was a study into the effects of homegrown school feeding program. In this context, when we say homegrown school feeding program, we mean the school growing the food and then feeding the children. And then the research design was a between participant design with a pre and post test. And as you can all agree, you will see that a one-tailed, these are the results, a one-tailed independent sample t-test indicated that the intervention had probably a non-significant p-value of 416. And what it means is that, yes, there was a small positive effect on attendance, because we are looking at, does that have an effect on the attendance of children coming to school? So it had a very small positive impact. And this is because NGOs are also working in the other schools to feed the children that come to different parts of the schooling. So thank you very much. If you want more information, you can come to my...
Thank you very much. Those, hello, hi, hi, hi. So that was the research that 20 amazing Varkey Teacher Ambassadors or Global Teacher Prize finalists engaged in over the past year. We had Carol and Rebecca Kramer, who are not able to be with us here today, but their research is there as well. So over the, please take your seats. Over the past, they'll be coming back. I'm just going to give a few highlights. So on Tuesday, all these researchers met together, and they were talking about the research that they had carried out and the impact of the research. And what came out from this is, one, these are teachers just like you and me, and they are willing to be able to support other teachers who would be interested in doing the same research in their schools. So if this is something of interest to you and you see a research that resonates with your school or your country, please make sure you come and stand at their stalls as they sell to you the research that they did. Education Development Trust is also quite interested in doing new research in the same areas to make sure that, you know, as you are able to give, to talk about the impact of your work in your schools, teacher-led research in your schools. And so this is an opportunity for those who are still interested. You've liked what you've seen, you've heard them talk about their research. You can either talk to the VTAs, you can talk to myself, and make sure that you are part of the next research trial in partnership with Education Development Trust. It's not necessarily these areas. It can be an area that you are interested in your school and within your country. So what we are going to do right now, we are going to ask that all the VTAs stand beside their easels. I realized it was unintentional, but there were gentlemen on this side and ladies on this side. I don't know why. But this is also a lot of pink. So if we could just have these researchers stand up and come to the front once again. Please, thank you, thank you. Please. So what we're going to do with these researchers, they are going to move their to give, hello, hi, 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 hello, thank you. So what we're going to do with the research, we're going to ask them to move their easels a bit to the side to give them space, and we're going to have a marketplace. It's going to be loud in here. What we want you to do is move to each stall and talk to the researchers, talk about the work that they've done, ask questions if you've written any as they were speaking, and let them explain to you their research. We have 45 minutes to do this, so you have quite a bit of time to do this. Thank you very much. Please.
Literally, you can just be here. Otherwise, if it's mute, it sounds strange. So this is live now, yeah?
Gracias.
Para que el negocio de que
I said, we're just beginning that now.
Growing the food itself.
Yeah, growing the food. Students and their parents growing the food. Varkey program, they are beginning as an incentive. So the Varkey program is a project incentive to students and parents. So as they grow the food, if it's rice, you have to impose it. There's a small incentive that is based on those that deliver to school. Pepper, vegetables, and so in a way that people get interested in it the first time. So the government is investing some small money to make sure do it. Get it started in farming. There's a school farm. The Ministry of Agriculture is helping to develop the technical profile of it. So, yeah, they will help us. But when you use a student, yeah. When you use okay. Yeah, so give me the story. Yes. It does. It does. It really does. Now we are just beginning, and our people like to be paid for everything. So to begin, the Ministry of Agriculture assigned agriculture Akash to the county. Not all the schools that are beginning with some. They have schools that have agriculture area. To begin small farms.
Ladies and gentlemen, could we please take our seats? Ladies and gentlemen, could we please take our seats? Ladies and gentlemen, could we please take our seats? Ladies and gentlemen, could we please take our seats?
Where could I charge my phone? My phone. So, on the back side.
Ladies and gentlemen, could we please take our seats? All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back from that marketplace session. Did we enjoy it? Did we enjoy it? So, to conclude this session, I thought it would be best if first we will start with Mario. Mario didn't have his poster present, but he also was part of the research. So he's going to have 2 minutes as well to talk about his research and talk about the findings from his research. And after that, we shall have a short Q&A with these lovely people. And they'll give us a bit more on, the challenges they had doing the research, what it was about, what advice they can give to you to go and do the research in your schools. So let's just start with Mario to talk about his research. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mario. Mi trabajo fue con realidad aumentada, la cual es un tipo de realidad virtual.
My research project was with augmented reality, which is a part of virtual reality.
Yo trabajé con 4 grupos. Estos grupos recibieron algunas lecciones de química y de biología.
I work with 4 groups, and these groups received lessons in chemistry and biology.
Aunque los temas eran distintos, lo que importaba aquí era la metodología. Entonces, 2 grupos recibieron una clase tradicional y 2 grupos una clase con realidad aumentada.
The thematics were different, but the methodology was the important thing here. So 2 groups received traditional lessons, and the other 2 groups received augmented reality lessons.
Los resultados fueron increíbles. Los niños que trabajaron con realidad aumentada tuvieron un aumento significativo en los resultados de los exámenes que les medimos.
And the results were outstanding, incredible results. The kids that were able to work with augmented reality proved so in some tests that we apply them.
Para finalizar, quiero comentarles que la realidad aumentada toma elementos de nuestra realidad, como por ejemplo una imagen, y la transforma en animaciones, videos y audios.
Just for you to know, augmented reality takes images from our context and reality and augments that, like for example, making an animation. Also with videos and graphics.
Y esto se ve a través de una pantalla que puede ser un teléfono o una tablet.
And we use the screen that can be from a phone or a tablet.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mario. So if you have any questions about Mario's research, his poster will be on the app, and we shall also put all their research findings on the Varkey Foundation website, so you can still be able to go and read their research findings. And so we have 2 lovely gentlemen and a lady from South Africa who are going to talk to us a bit more about doing the trial. And I'll start with Akash. Akash speaks several languages. It's quite amazing. But we'll choose for you to speak English right now. So Akash, you did your research in the United States. Could you just tell us a bit about you, first of all, when they told you you're going to do a randomized control trial, what came to your mind at that point in time?
I was very excited when they told me about this, because this was the same time last year when the entire country is getting rid of foreign language textbooks and throwing them in the trash can. And we are moving from a traditional model of teaching foreign languages to a proficiency-centered model. So I was like, thousands and thousands and millions of dollars are invested into teaching and textbooks, and they're throwing them. So I was like, maybe I need to test if this works in the classroom. Where are the numbers? Where are the statistics if this model of teaching foreign languages is working? So I asked Dr. Richard, hey, do you think this would be a great research question? I reached out to the American Council on the Teaching of Foreign Languages, and they were like, this would be a great research question because it's a new model, it's a new methodology, and we need some data to see if it actually works.
Thank you very much, Akash. And could you just expound for us about the findings of your research? I know you've talked to a few people, so you asked Dr. Richard about your research to see if the model works, so tell us a bit more.
Well, the findings, even though this was a small research sample, which was one of the limitations of my study, I had 2 classes, and both of the classes, I gave them a traditional lesson and a proficiency lesson, and I counterbalanced it by giving it a proficiency and a traditional lesson. That way the effect on each other would be minimized. And at the end of the lesson, we found statistically significant findings with a p-value of 0.001, which means there's a 1 in 1,000 chance that this study and the results are not accurate. So we have to replicate these findings, replicate this study in other countries with diverse students, with other schools, other languages, to see if the results are similar. And if they are similar, we can start seeing a trend and a pattern. Because in research, we can never prove something, but we can show patterns and we can show trends. So I think it was a great study, except for one thing. I was telling everybody, I found a very odd finding. The finding was I asked the students in the survey, what do you prefer? Do you prefer the traditional model or the proficiency model? They found all of the proficiency fun, engaging. They enjoyed learning the concepts. But when I asked them, which one do you prefer? The students said traditional. Because that's how they've been doing it for years. And proficiency requires them to use their brain to interpret text, to make sense of the text. So maybe 10 years down the line, they'll be like, Patel, I think proficiency was better. I can use it today in day-to-day life.
Thank you very much, Akash. Those are quite interesting findings. And as you say, it would be interesting to replicate this across the world. In Africa, we are looking at the same issues in terms of language and proficiency. So it would be interesting if you can replicate that across Africa as well. I know Andrews is looking at me in the same.
We would love to take any candidates who are interested in replicating some of our studies in your countries, and we'll be happy to mentor or help you guys in facilitating that research process.
Thank you very much, Akash. Yes, Alexandra Rubio. So you'll interpret. Can I have another microphone, please? Thank you. So Alexandra Rubio, you did your research in Colombia. Could you just tell us, just in 30 seconds, a bit about your research?
Bueno, entonces la investigación en 30 segundos fue basada en disminuir las situaciones de violencia que tienen mis estudiantes, están en medio de drogas, narcotráfico, pandillas, situaciones de conflicto constante, y mediante ciertas técnicas aplicadas 3 veces en la semana, desde la respiración, el control, la meditación, el mindfulness, el yoga, la expresión corporal, disminuir ese índice de violencia y evitar lo que incluso sucedía en mi colegio, que era algo que fue muertes violentas.
So Alex actually used a real life problem from his school, his community, and his research question was to see if mindfulness, whether controlling his breathing or the mindfulness practices that he teaches his students, had an impact on reducing a number of violent activities or violent cases at the school. So violent incidents at his school through mindfulness. And what did you find?
¿Qué encontré? Se redujeron los niveles de agresión, se mejoró el control corporal y la toma de decisiones. La mayoría de situaciones de violencia ocurren porque no te tomas el tiempo de respirar y analizar las respuestas. Entonces, eso les ayuda a tomar mejores decisiones y evitar el conflicto físico y la violencia física y la violencia simbólica.
So he found that mindfulness really helps students control their breathing, and when you control your breathing, you can analyze what you're about to do. Your actions. So controlling that breathing and breathing techniques allowed his students to minimize conflicts and aggression across his campus, which is incredible. And I think we can look for other candidates who want to replicate this in their countries.
Thank you very much, both Akash and Alexandra. So if you want to replicate this, what challenges would you tell those who want to replicate it that they would face if they were trying to do that same kind of research?
Bueno. Hemos logrado los desafíos. Ya empezamos con el primero, se replicó en 26 colegios de Bogotá. Y en este segundo momento la idea es llegar a todo el país, especialmente a las zonas de conflicto. Mi país estaba en guerra por 50 años con situaciones de guerrilla, de paramilitares. Entonces, llegar a estas zonas, pero también hemos logrado hacer una réplica en Argentina, en una provincia que se llama Corrientes, con un profe de una escuela rural, y la idea es, estamos invitados a hacer algunos seminarios internacionales que se vaya replicando en esos países.
So they have several schools with similar situations in Colombia, paramilitares, so it's the civil war and the military. So they have similar situation in other schools, and he would love to. He would be interested in seeing how that study could be replicated in other schools with similar issues in their communities, and he would also like to see if he could replicate this study in Argentina. And not just Argentina, you would want to see if any other country that has similar acts or violence in their communities could replicate this. So the same with English and Spanish. Now I teach Spanish. I did this with Spanish classroom. I met several foreign language teachers that were teaching English, French, Arabic. I met some Arabic teachers. Teaching of language is similar across the pedagogy and the methodology can be applied to any language. And the American Council on Teaching of Foreign Languages is pushing all 50 states, no matter what language you teach, Arabic, Spanish, French, German, to get rid of the textbooks and teach a proficiency-centered model. I think my study can easily be replicated in any country, where anybody who's teaching a foreign language can try to use this proficiency model with authentic texts instead of using grammar worksheets and see if they find the similar results.
So still back to Alexander. So if they still want, you're encouraging people to actually carry out this research across the continent, but are there specific challenges they should be aware of before they even start the study?
Bueno, los desafíos específicos que tenía era cómo mejorar
cómo mejorar las relaciones, la empatía, la alteridad, la otredad, las situaciones de trabajo colectivo, pero igual hay que compartirles que con estos chicos que hicimos el trabajo logramos incluso hacer los 2 récord Guinness desde ese trabajo de cuerpo. Entonces el desafío ahora es hacerlo expansivo, ya no era 1000, sino ahora hacerlo expansivo a más estudiantes y más ciudades en el país y en el mundo.
Well, I don't really know if I got the challenge, but I think what Alex is trying to say, maybe if we can replicate this with diverse schools, with the similar situation, diverse backgrounds, and if we can have a larger sample. So one of our biggest challenges in a lot of our studies was the sample size. So, and one of the challenges is also that he's saying is to write the book that we're going to write, all the 20 of us together, about the findings of the research that we conducted, and see if we can write a book about it, about teaching pedagogy or teaching methodologies, and how we can improve teaching of different things using some of these techniques that we researched or tested in our studies.
Thank you very much. And last but most definitely not least, over to Maje from South Africa. Maje, you and quite rightly taking on from where Alexandra and Akash have left off. We're talking about next steps in terms of the RCT project. Where do you see this project going for you in South Africa, across the continent, but also with the other VTAs within this room?
Well, thanks, Charlotte. It's very interesting. I had some really interesting discussions just now because we know that there's a rise of conservatism in the world. There's a rise of xenophobia, and that the attitudes of social Darwinism are still alive and rising. And so I think it's not a research project that only belongs in South Africa because we had apartheid, but it belongs in every country where there is prejudice on the basis of race, religion, disability. Because when I teach it, I teach the history of apartheid and social Darwinism. But social Darwinism, as I said, was applied across all continents where people were colonized. And I also talk about intersectionality, that the prejudice is not only based on race, it was based on class. In America, poor white people were sterilized. In Germany, it was because of religion. So when we talk about social Darwinism, we mustn't just think that it was based on one thing. And wherever there is inequality, we have to interrogate that. So I teach it in terms of debate. And already Dr. James from Brazil is saying exactly the same thing. He's got a similar project. So we're talking about collaborating, but I've also spoken to a wonderful woman from Spain who says that refugees coming into Spain are treated differently on the basis of their color. And they are given different jobs or different opportunities on that. So we need to look this in the face and say it's worldwide. And so I look forward to people in other countries staring this issue in the face and saying, how do we talk about equal education in terms of syllabus, in terms of technology, but we need to talk about it in terms of self-esteem. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, we have only 2 minutes left. Actually, 1 minute and 20 seconds. Is there one person who has a question, one or two people who have burning questions? So 2 people. I'll start with ladies first. Yes.
Good afternoon, all the beautiful ladies and gentlemen here. This is not a question actually. I truly believe in what Alex said because I am myself doing mindfulness with my students. I would say this is not only to remove that violence among the students. What actually is, we have to build the happiness among our students, among our citizens. That is the main thing. So mindfulness is not just about mindful breathing. It is about mindful eating as well, mindful listening, mindful seeing. So we in India, we are having this happiness curriculum in India, in New Delhi, where we are actually, the students used to feel that they are happy only when they are having a good job, they are successful in the terms of money, job, etc. But we all know that happiness is not about money. It is a state of mind, and we all have to inbuild the state of mind within ourselves. So mindfulness is for each and every person, each and every child. So I shared my experience with Alex as well about this mindfulness and happiness, and I am truly honored to be associated with him in continuing his research project. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ati. And I think more to what you're saying is that this research also will...
Not just for reducing the violence among students. It is
Yes.
about increasing the empathy, the sense of gratitude among the students. I would give you one example of this, just one. One of my students, what she used to, the children, what he used to, Mama, apne khana, you gave me food, and it is your duty or job, you are giving me food. But when the child comes home and says, thank you, Mama, for giving me food, this is gratitude. The children are expressing their gratitude towards their parents, towards their teachers, towards their friends. That is happiness. So we all are building an ambience of happiness because of this mindfulness. Thank you.
Hello. So first of all, kudos to all of you for the great research that you conducted along with the 17 other teacher researchers. My question to you is, have you guys had any background in statistics before or any research? And then I'm going to lead in with the following. It's just because with our social enterprise Ed 4.0, a great portion of our work has been to train teachers on quantitative research methods, just starting with regression analyses and then moving on to RCTs and other methods. First of all, there is a big problem with the buy-in. And then second of all, there is that technical element that kind of proves to be a little bit hard for them to swallow. So what was your experience in this regard, and especially those of you who don't have a background in statistics? I'd be very keen to hear your perspective.
Okay, I know I was fortunate to have a research background because I was a research assistant for my graduate school where I studied capstone projects across the university campus in Oklahoma, like 70 capstone projects. It was a mixed methods research that included qualitative and quantitative research. I'm not sure about Marge and Alex. Did y'all have any background in quantitative research?
Sí, en mi caso, sí. Pues el trabajo que me llevó a ser top 50 en el 2017 fue de carácter cualitativo, de investigación cualitativa. Pero en este momento...
One of the reasons why he was in the top 50 because of some of his qualitative research that he conducted back when he received the honor.
Okay, pero en este momento con Richard logramos hacer la validación científica desde el método cuantitativo, que si uno lo mira, bueno, en lo educativo nosotros como Latinoamérica tenemos una incidencia desde lo social con lo cualitativo, pero lo cuantitativo empieza a tener también una validez a nivel de otras áreas del conocimiento, para journals, para publicaciones con referentes, que esto está relacionado con temas políticos. Cuando ven la incidencia de lo cuantitativo, incluso hay líneas políticas que se fundamentan en estadísticas.
I'm sorry. Now with Dr. Richard and the Education Trust, his research has more meaning because he's moved from qualitative to quantitative, where he's working with numbers. And he's got statistically significant findings that, if replicated, could end up making in journals and research publications.
Thank you. Maje, 30 seconds.
So Dr. Richard Churches says that a lot of research on education is done at university level. And there really is a need for people in the classroom to be researching and talking with authority in terms of what they witness. So we were trained 2 days last year in quantitative analysis and research methods. I'm a head of history at my school, but I'm also a maths and so I did statistics at university. But that was not what I drew on. I drew on those 2 excellent days of training. And I think the important thing is that we now are hoping to be mentors to future researchers, because it is quite a thing to take on. It's daunting. But we're hoping that people will log into what we've done and we can support them. And Richard Churches is also very willing to help analyze their research.
Thank you very much. Could you give a hand of applause to these lovely people? And kudos, as you say, to all the people who took part in the RCT research. I will hand over to for the next session. Thank you very much for listening to me and being patient with me. Thank you.
Okay, so I just want to run through a couple of things that are going to happen this afternoon. Right now, we're just waiting for some of our guests to come in. I'm going to introduce them in a second so you know who they are, and I'll give you the introduction even if they're not here, but they're caught up in another meeting up the top. So as soon as they get down here, we'll start with them. Actually, let me start with that now so you know who I'm talking about. So many of you will be aware of Malala's story as a teenager in Pakistan trying to get education. And last year there was a film made about her life story called Gulmukhai. And she said, and Gulmukhai means female heroine. And so obviously the story of her life. And what she set up is a Gulmukhai network of educators in different parts of the world that support the work of education champions in developing countries, speeding up progress towards girls' secondary education around the world. And we're fortunate enough this afternoon, to have 3 of those champions coming to speak to us about what they do in their part of the world. And so as soon as they get down to us, I'll hand over to them and we'll go from there. The other thing, once they've finished speaking, we'll have a quick closure and then we'll move into lunch. After lunch, we're going to move into the regional summits, which will run for about an hour and a half. And I think there is a slide that will just introduce that to you, but I'll just give you the information now while we've got the time. Australasia will be in the cafe, which is just down here. It's the only one I know because I've seen the cafe. MENA, Middle East, North Africa, will be in the media center, which is down the corridor where you came in. Europe will be in Assetia A. So all of these rooms along here are lettered, so they'll be in Assetia A. Asia will be in Assetia B. SSA. Who's SSA? Sub-Saharan Africa. Glad there's a teacher in the room. Will be in Assetia B. Latin America, Central America will be in Assetia E. And North America will be in Assetia C. It's on the agenda if you have your agenda with you, but hopefully you got the general gist of that. Whilst we are waiting, a couple of people have asked me if they can have 1 minute, and I'm saying 1 minute, to just briefly share with the room. So is my friend from Nepal here? And after this, get ready, Ken Sylvan's going to do a magic trick.
Okay, namaste. Namaste and good afternoon. I'd like to introduce myself, and I just asked to speak just for a minute because I asked at the last minute. My name is Saunter, teacher, principal, and the founder of Hiba Academy and the New Vision Learning Academy. I'd like to shorten it. I was born in a very poor family, and I was very traumatized. Normally in Nepal and India, we have very corporal system. I was raised very corporal system. Yeah, I just show you one picture. I think you will feel really cry. Yeah, we have the very corporal system in Nepal. The teacher hate the kids. So nobody liked to go to the school. And since 8 years, I'm trying, we have to teach the kids without any violence, with positive enforcement. And then I set up the school, and the local government and the teachers around the village, they didn't understand. And finally, this top 50 Global Teacher Prize give me this honor. And now people are thinking about it. Local government and the teachers are thinking about it. This person is doing. It's difficult to get the permission and everything. So it means I just want to really cry here because it's a great honor. And the world is not changing. It has already changed. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to use the handheld or the lapel? I've already done the introduction. Yeah. Okay, we're going to get Ken to do his magic trick, which we've all been waiting for whilst we get the mics put on our guests.
I'm going to invite yesterday up as my assistant.
Just hand over to Paige.
Right, she's going to look at that card and memorise it. Actually, show it to that half of the group, and I won't look. Has she done it? Cool, don't let me see. Okay, please place it back where you got it from, same spot. Okay, hold that. Okay, now I need, can you just tell me when to stop? Okay, somewhere around now would be good. Stop. Okay, now, you guys all saw it? Okay, black, red, it was black?
Yes.
Black? Yes. Black. So it was, did you see it? Okay, so it was a club? It was a club?
Yes.
Okay, can I ask you at the back, right at the back, can you just count to 5? Yes? Oh, okay. So it was a 2 of clubs. Is that correct? Okay. Now, the way I did it, 4 of hearts is at the bottom. So if I shuffle and I pull down at the same time, then the 4 of hearts is always at the bottom. Okay? So it doesn't matter what that card is, as long as I know what's on the bottom. I then spread the cards out, take the card, I pull the cards apart, everyone looks at her. When she puts it back, I give her this part to put it onto. So what was the 4 of hearts? It's now going to be there. And when I look through, I know where the 4 of hearts is, and the card that she picked is the one before that. Kids love it when you can entertain them, so you've got a trick to take back to school.
Okay, so as I just introduced before, we've got our Gomakai speakers coming to join us, and I'm going to introduce you to Paige, who's going to tell you a little bit more about the program.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you for waiting for us. I really appreciate it. My name is Paige Schindler Buchanan. I am the Gomakai Network Manager at Malala Fund. So the Gomakai Network is the signature program of Malala Fund. We identify, support, and partner with education activists in countries where there are huge numbers of out-of-school girls or where there is a very high percentage of out-of-school girls. The point of the Gulmakai Network is to take activists who are doing great work locally, to give them a grant to do a project that will help to make systemic change in their country, to give them capacity building, training, and mentoring as activists and leaders, to give them a network, both of other Gulmakai champions, but also of other educators, politicians, other stakeholders who care about girls' education, and to amplify their voices using the platform that we have as Malala Fund and the connections that we have. So it is a thrill to be here today with teachers, with educators who are so much at the heart of what we are trying to do to make sure that every girl has 12 full years of free, safe, and quality education. So the three Gulmakai champions that I've brought to you today represent a very wide range of places. They're from Nigeria and Pakistan and Turkey, but also of approaches to systemic change, to research, to technology, and to access to quality and to learning in libraries. So I don't want to take up too much of our time talking about the program. I wanted to let you know why they're here and that we are very proud to be presenting them, and I hope that you will find their work as energizing and as inspirational as we do. And I look forward to having some time after they share a little bit about the work that they're doing to meet you over lunch. They're really excited to hear about what you all are doing all around the world as teachers, and to maybe find some ways that you can connect, collaborate, learn from each other. So with that, I am going to hand it over to Kiki James, who comes to us from our Nigeria chapter. Kiki founded ACE, and I'll let her tell you about it.
Thank you very much. Oh. Hello, everyone. I promise you I'm not nervous. My name is Kiki James. I am from the UK. I was raised in the UK, but I'm originally from Nigeria. I moved... Wow. I moved back to Nigeria in 2010 because I was frankly bored. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to be part of the process of creating change. I set up a charity called ACE. It stands for Assisting, Caring and Empowering African Lives. The focuses are education and training, economic empowerment, and affordable healthcare. The reason we set up education and training as the main focus is because, to me, education is a form of justice. Before I go any further, I'd like to play you a short video in order for me to elaborate further. Thank you very much. At ACE Charity, we're fully committed to ensuring that children in Nigeria are educated beyond basic level. We set up libraries in the form of learning resource centers.
The main goal of our learning resource center is to identify slow learners and people that are lagging behind and bring them up to speed with their counterparts. We, the resource staff, do this by teaching them numeracy, literacy, and ICT.
The way it works is this. The children come here when they have ICT. So essentially, we take over the ICT periods on the school timetable, which ensures that each child gets to come to our Learning Resource Center at least twice a week. All of our learning centers are equipped with books needed within the school for the children. Teachers come to our learning centers to plan their lesson notes because we have all the books required by the Nigerian curriculum for each school. Our learning resource centers have computers that currently are not functioning to maximum capacity because they're old. We desperately need you to please donate computers. We want to ensure that they are ICT literate before they leave school. We have a generator that powers the computer, so when there's no electricity, they're able to still use the computers that work. In 2010, when I came up with the idea of setting up libraries, learning resource centers as we call them today, that was the easy part. But maintaining a learning resource center of this standard in a public school in today's society is a challenge, but we're up to the task. This is how you can help us. So, We set up learning resource centers because we're not trying to replicate what the teachers teach. First of all, before I go any further, I want to thank you all. Because if not for people like you, if not for teachers like you, I wouldn't be able to stand here and speak to you. I was taught, hence the reason I'm able to stand here and communicate with you. So thank you so very much for all you do. Going further, the reason we set up learning resource centers is because in Nigeria, the schools are not up to standard. So we don't have functional libraries. We set up learning resource center and equip the teachers, the resource staff, with what they need to teach our children. In Nigeria, some of the schools don't have the resources, but we can tell them, you know what, count the stones, and this is how you learn to count. Read and write in a particular method. Our approaches are different. We believe that we don't judge children according to their ability, but their performance. So we equip our staff with the right resources in order to teach our children. And I'm going to show you how we do that before I go any further.
A-N B-Y B-E up N-E ag Ice, mice, dice, nice, rice, rice, slice, twice, home sweet home. What is home for a bear? A cave is home for a bear. What is home for a beaver? A lodge is home for a...
So the reason we do this is because we're trying to show the Nigerian government there's so many different ways you can teach. There's so many different ways you can educate. I remember one of the days I went to the learning resource centers and the gate man was teaching. The teachers had not turned up, no fault of their own, but the gate man was teaching. And I asked him, why are you doing this? He wasn't only teaching, he was flogging the children for not getting it right, but he was unqualified to teach in the first place. So what we do in the learning resource centers, our staff are, in some cases, the most qualified. So they educate the teachers. The teachers come and plan their lesson notes in our learning resource center. We also do teacher training because we believe that we want to carry everyone along. We're not waiting for the government. Yes, we're doing a lot of work with Malala Fund because policies matter. We want systematic change. However, in the meantime, we need to work with the children on the grassroots level because we're trying to make sure we have children who are sensible, responsible society, members of society. One last video, if I may. This is from the point of view of one of the children who use our learning resource centers. We have learning resource centers in Borno, in the northeast, in Abuja, and we're hoping to go around the whole of Nigeria and hopefully Africa.
My name is M.M. Young. I am 9 years old. I'm in primary 5. I was in primary 3 when the ACE Learning Resource Center came to my school. Before the ACE Learning Resource Center came to my school, I couldn't read, write, and operate computers. Now that I've been using the ACE Learning Resource Center, I can read, I can write, and I can operate computers. 5 things I love about the ACE Learning Resource Center are the way they teach, the books, the computers, the puzzles, and the pictures in the ACE Learning Resource Center. I have a friend that cannot read. If she had the ACE Learning Resource Center, she can learn how to read by now. I wish she can come to my school so that she can use the ACE Learning Resource Center here. I love my ACE Learning Resource Center. Please help keep it open. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. What said is true. We have recorded increased enrollment and retention rates in schools where we have the Learning Resource Center. The Learning Resource Center is a hub. We plant these learning resource centers in government schools. So we have access to 4,000 children, 3,000 children, however many children we have per school. The aim of getting children to come to school whether classroom doesn't look conducive is one thing, but to have a computer, these children, some have never actually seen a computer before. I remember a parent who came to us and said, because of you, I brought my daughter to school. Because she's seen a computer. I've never used one. I've seen it, but I've never touched one. But because of your intervention, our children are able to learn. We're really, really grateful to the Malala Fund for the work that they do, and we're especially grateful to all our staff who are teaching. They're not professional teachers, but we're learning on the job. We've had to force ourselves to find creative ways so that we can help our children, we can assist them, care and empower them, so that we can create generations. These learning resource centers are in the schools forever. They will be there for generations. Hopefully they won't break down the buildings. But the aim is to transform lives in a systematic way and a creative way. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Kiki. We are now going to move to Turkey, where there are nearly 4 million Syrian refugees, many of whom are girls who need to get an education. Gamze Karadag works with Mavi Kalem. Oh, nope. Never mind. I got it wrong. Teaser. Haroon. Very handsome man here, of the Arunda Project, works in Pakistan, and has a great story that he will tell you about going from student to teacher to innovator. And I'll let him tell it.
Hello, everyone. Let me start by just saying what an absolute honor it is to be in this room with you. But before I begin here today, I'd like to make a confession. Are you ready to hear it? I absolutely despise algebra. Now, a lot of people have come up to me and told me that hate is a very strong word for what I feel. But I feel like no other word describes accurately what I feel for this. Now, it must have started somewhere around 6th grade when it was taught for the first time. Maybe I wasn't paying attention, or maybe my best friend had something really important to say, or maybe it wasn't taught that well. But from that point onwards, every single time I came up in front of an algebra sum, I felt like I was chasing a very fast train and I would never be able to catch up. Now, my siblings, I come from a naturally high-achieving family for some godforsaken reason. My siblings were naturally brilliant, as you can see from the very happy expressions on their faces on the mornings before going to school. But I, on the other hand, as you can clearly see from my expression, I was struggling. And I continued to struggle right up until I scraped out of high school. And my high-achieving family thought it would be a good idea to bundle me off abroad to an elite engineering school. And off I went. It was only within the first 3 months of my time at engineering school that I woke up in the middle of my winter break, looked at myself at the mirror that morning, and said, I don't want to do this anymore. That day, I left a post-it note for my roommate. I went to the university registrar's office, and I dropped out of college. When I got back home to Pakistan, I had a lot of time to pick another career and to do anything as long as I wanted because my parents refused to talk to me. And so I decided to become a teacher. I opened a series of schools in slums in Islamabad, and once those schools were up and running, I decided to travel all across Pakistan, living in small towns and villages, and asking the real questions of the people that were living those lives to see what it was that we could do to make education better. Now, there were some very obvious problems that you all will know about or must have experienced. There are about 24 million children in Pakistan who are simply out of school, have never been to a school. But there are bigger problems. In Pakistan, out of the children that are enrolled, about 50% of them are dropping out in only the first year of their education. 50%. And a predominant reason for that is a lack of interest in their schooling. Now, this is a practical first-hand example of a small village in Pakistan where I went, where the attendance was 100%, but the students weren't performing at all. And I discovered the culprit, a small hole in the wall in the school, And as soon as the teacher wasn't looking, the students would slip under the wall. And as soon as the class was about to be over, they would slip back in and fall back into their seats. And of course, you can't blame the teacher. If there are about 100 children in one class, how on earth are you expected to look after all of them? And so we wanted to make something that could solve these problems. And among all the hopeless things that we were seeing across Pakistan, there was something very odd that was happening as well. And that was the rise of the smartphone. In a country where about 50% of kids are chronically malnourished, they don't have enough to eat, 50% of the population is going to own a smartphone in the next year. That's 100 million people who are going to have smartphones. And so keeping that in mind, we wanted to build something that could give access easily, and that was interesting. And that's how Talimabad was born, an imaginary land where all of our characters get lost in all sorts of misadventures with only one goal in mind, to teach children according to the national curriculum of Pakistan. I'll show you a clip and then I'll describe it later.
Lad lado, pinzavish largi rodu. Go jode do tapara kho nur largim pakaru. No plar lado, valas largi norem rodu. Pinzavish jama valas. Uspa munga de sara lakire jodiku. Pinza saraba, pinza lakire jodiku. Basaraba, valakire jodiku. Gas lasta bamunga, dwasara dwalakire jodiku. Or yo sara yo. और उस पमुंगा दा उश्मारू यो द्वा द्रे सलोर पिंज शपक व अत नहा लस योलस दोलस दा पमुंगा ओलिकू दलता लांदे उस यो उपद्वा के झगड़ा शोरो श्वा अगी जंग शोरो को जिद्दे के बसोक उसी की देखाना के दन्ना नुमुंगा बबरा यो बला खाना जोड़कू और दे खाना के ब दायो बूजू नो दे यो सरब.
Now you can clearly see that there was a lot of it had to do with keeping the child engaged, but there was also a lot of science behind it. The instance of the numbers fighting in that right-hand column, you've all taught addition at some point or learned addition, and you know what a pain it can be to teach that topic. And the other thing is, you must have noticed a xylophone in its ascending tune playing while the children were doing the counting. We discovered in our experiments that children were much more likely to attune themselves to music. It was much more natural to them than to learn mental math. And so pairing music with mental math allowed us to build their mental skills much better. And so after the children are done watching the videos, we make them take tests to see if they've learned or not. And we gave the government in Pakistan a challenge. We said, we'll launch it in public schools and we'll show you that dropout rates can be reduced. And we piloted in 2 districts across Pakistan and saw the dropouts come down from 26% to 6%. And children who were watching the content were performing 31% better than children who weren't watching it. And eventually we bundled it into a mobile platform and launched it across Pakistan. In only 1 year, we've seen 80,000 users come onto the platform from all corners of the country, even the underserved ones. And the platform is expected to reach 1 million children by next year. But there's another surprising thing that has happened. The platform has spread all across the globe, even though we didn't intend for it to do so. And these are all the expat Pakistanis who are living abroad who can't teach the child in their native language because that simply isn't available and choose to do so through this platform. Our global spread has won us recognition from the Queen, and that has allowed us to spread our reach even further. But I have another confession to make. And before you ask, it's not about the demeanor of the Queen, it's about learning levels. In Pakistan, a simple division sum of this sort, which children do in 1st grade, even after reaching 5th grade, 56% of children can't do it. And the reason is because we've got the idea about learning levels all wrong. We think that a child will start in grade 1 and goes in a straight line to grade 3 and follow in natural orders of progression. But what if a child is left behind? And so one of the things that technology is allowing us to do is to capture the data legally and ethically, not like Mark Zuckerberg does, of thousands and thousands of children, and to then modify the platform according to each child's need. So they don't have to follow a linear path, but instead what it can do is to help them chart their own unique path throughout this. I think I've run out of time. I have a lot of other things to show, but we can continue this over lunch. But I just want to say that I think at a lot of occasions people have thought that this is going to replace teachers, and the answer to that is it never can and never will. There are things in my life that teachers have taught me which a computer never can. And what the aim of technology should be then is when there are 100 kids in a classroom and a teacher can't manage all of them, then the job is to make learning as engaging as possible and to make the modification of learning according to each child's need as easy as possible, so that the teachers who work so hard to ensure our futures have their jobs a little easier every single day they walk into the classroom. Thank you.
Thank you, Haroon. And now, I promised she was coming. Gamze Karadag, who works with Mavi Callum in Turkey, focusing on the needs of children who have been dealing with so much because of the Syrian refugee crisis, and looking at ways that teachers can support them in the classroom and ways that we can support teachers to support them in the classroom. I'm going to invite her up to tell you more about it.
Thank you, Paige. Hi, everyone. My name is Gamze Karadag. I'm coming from Istanbul. It is a great chance to meet with you in here today. I'm very excited. Last month, I met 100 Turkish and Syrian teachers to talk about psychosocial support for Syrian children. So it is a great chance to be here to meeting with you. This wrong presentation page, it is not mine. This is the model of fun presentation. Sorry. Okay, I could mention about myself. I'm health trainer, health educator, and I am also a teacher. But I worked in NGO sector last 15 years in Turkey, in Istanbul, focused on empowerment issues. I work with girls, women, women health, women rights, girls' education rights, and children rights. So we create some empowerment modules for girls who need to know, learn from each other, and who need solidarity all together. So I didn't get any chance to work at school as a teacher, but I work with women and teachers and children and girls also. So I'm waiting, or?
No, we have it, they're just putting it up, sorry.
Okay, thank you. So, okay, it is unplanned time for me. Okay, thank you for your understanding. So, our project related teachers who are working with Syrian children. It is okay. This is our project named Developing a Model on Education of Syrian Children project. So I will mention firstly what is status of Syrian refugees in Turkey. It is important information, I think. We have registered Syrians 3.6 million, nearly 4 million in Turkey. And also we have unregistered population in Turkey. We are not sure, maybe nearly 4 million totally we have refugees. And 1.6 children are in age 0 to 18 in this population, and more than 1 million children are in age 5 to 17. They are school age. 603,000 children continued their education last year. But there is, beyond, there is lots of children out of school in Turkey right now. It was an unexpected issue, refugee issue in Turkey in our education system, because we didn't have any preparation for this. But after the Syria crisis, our Ministry of Education created some supportive education programs. One of them, temporary education centers. Maje, Minister of National Education, opened temporary education centers at the 2015, at the end of 2015, for Syrian children. Their curriculum in Arabic, and they are taking 4 hours Turkish in a day. And there is another program, PICTES program. It is a teachers program, teachers teaching Turkish to Syrian kids in temporary schools and public schools. There is 3,000 teachers teaching Turkish to refugee children. EU-funded program, that one, and also EU guaranteed it more 3 years. And also related all this issue, Maje started to accelerated learning program at the end of 2018. Yes, we can think about that. It is late, maybe, but okay, to solve something, anything, we can say late. So we are doing something on it to get improvement. Our project to focus on that issue, education issue, what Syrian refugees, Syrian children needs on education, related education. We made a research with teachers, 252 teachers attend this research. They are Turkish teachers, Syrian teachers, and also with this research, we focused on war and migration trauma effects on students and teachers, and vulnerable students among Syrian children, what they need exactly. And we looked for support systems for children according to teachers, and knowledge about sources and guides, books. And also Maje created a few source guides for teachers, but we asked a question in our research. Did you read these guides to teacher? They said 25% of them, no, because they are very thick books, very thick books. Maybe it is similar to you. So, okay, also we produced a book again. We had to discuss about that. Why we are not reading books, or how we reach the information without books. And also, my organization, I don't want to pass this, our public meeting to sharing our research results on Monday in Istanbul, so I can't share any statistics with you right now. You can check our webpage to reach the results of research, but I could mention 95% of teachers agreed that Syrian children needs psychological support, psychosocial support, financial support, improve self-expression and language skills to continue education, to stay in education in Turkey. Half of teachers thought that girls need psychosocial support, increase family awareness on rights of girls' education, and on child marriage. Close communication with teachers could solve some communication issues to keep girls in education, to continue education, and girls also need financial support. My organization, a member of INE network, in the agency network for education in emergencies. Did you heard before? This network published a handbook, and after that published a guidance note related on psychosocial support, We translated to Turkish and adapted this guidance note to Turkish, and we worked with teachers, Turkish teachers and Syrian teachers, and organized introductory trainings for teachers. So this guidance note focus on clarifies education sector's importance in supporting psychosocial well-being for children and youth, and provides educators with practical tips and advice about how to integrate their solutions to education efforts. If you want, you can visit their website and reach huge tools related to this issue. You can find the English version, Spanish version, and Arabic version online, and in April, Turkish version will upload it. We trained 104 teachers. Their suggestion and our suggestion agreed with that psychosocial support and social emotional learning perspective should be incorporated in national curriculum. And also national curriculum should be simplified, and cultural and examples, components should be added in this curriculum. And teachers provide additional time in their school time, because teachers said that they need time to share their experience, their knowledge in a day at school. They don't have time, they are so busy. After Syria crisis, they have very difficulties at the class and at school, because there is a language barrier at school also, and we have less guidance teachers who are facilitating this issue. So it is very difficult experience to be teacher in Turkey at that moment. And they're asking for time to share their experience, to share their solutions with other colleagues. And also they need PSS workshops and practical trainings. They don't need conferences. There is conferences, but practical trainings needed. So they need digital platforms to share their experience. And also to handle the language barrier, we need a 1-year Turkish language class for Syrian kids. So this is a photo from our trainings. So you are a teacher, I am a teacher. We have power to change future for children, for refugees. Please take initiative. We are talking about taking initiative. We are a member of education system in our countries, but we are working with children in the class. So we have solutions related to that issue. Please take initiative and talk later at lunch together if you want. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Gamza. So we are about 2 minutes to your long-awaited lunchtime. Thank you to Kiki for talking about the work she's doing in schools to provide access to teaching in some places, and also resources and understanding of how to use technology and books. Haroon is taking a creative approach using the technological revolution that's happening in his country to give students more tools, to give teachers more tools to better customize lessons to their students. And Gamza working to better understand the needs psychosocially of students and help teachers to give those to them in addition to lessons in the classroom. So I'm not going to take questions. I know you all probably have a lot of them, and we are going to join you for lunch and look forward to talking with you, answering yours, and hopefully you answering some of ours. Before I go, I want to acknowledge that a member of our team is sitting in the back of the room, and I hope you will say hello to her as well. Maliha Khan is our Chief of Programs. And I'm sure we'll be happy to talk with you and answer any questions about Malala Fund or the Gul Mackay Network too. So thank you all for letting us come into your day and for keeping you from lunch. So I'm going to hand it back over.